Well, hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unlock Show. I am your host, Tracy Wilson. And in fact, today is the very first day back after Christmas and New Year. So this is the very first show for 2021. And firstly, I want to thank everybody for hanging about, being back on the show in 2021. And thank you so much for your support in 2020. I've got an amazing guest that has agreed to join me today. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Robert in just a moment. But before I do, I want to tell you some other things that have been super exciting that have been happening whilst I've been, I suppose, on a bit of a break, a bit of a vacation from the show over the Christmas break. Today is a pretty exciting day. Why is it an exciting day? Because Vicky Helm and I, as you know, if you are inside of the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group, you will know Vicky Helm very well because you will have been watching the coffee break show with her for a number of years too. But anyhow, 2020, Vicky and I spent a lot of time writing a book, and today is the day that book has gone live. It is in Amazon. It is now ready for sale, and I'm pretty stoked to say that, woohoo, I'm now a published author. So I'm pretty darn happy about that achievement. And we got some news this morning when we opened up Amazon to see that we had already hit number one in new releases in a number of different categories. So if you guys are interested at all in buying, getting a copy of our book, if you go there today, you'll actually get it because you're an unlocked viewer for 99 cents. You'll get the ebook version of that book for just 99 cents today, but it's only available at that price for the next day or so. So be real quick. Go to amazon.com if you're in the US, amazon.com.au if you're in Australia, and just search for Amazon, UK, New Zealand, wherever else you are in the world, and search for The She Myth. Look for that title of a book and it will come up and you will be able to purchase it for 99 cents. So now that I've got all of that excitement out of the road, because it has been an exciting day, let me introduce my amazing guest. My guest today, I actually handpicked him. I had been on, as we do, we scroll our Facebook feed, and I'm always watching for really cool people that have got great messages to share that are in alignment with what I believe in and what I think our viewers would want to hear about. And about probably 8 weeks ago, I know Robert has been in my circle of influence for quite some time, but I saw a couple of videos that he was doing. He was out there spreading his message through live video, and I jumped on and I just listened, and I thought, wow, this guy's got some really cool stuff to share. He does it in such a brilliant way. I need to have this bloke on my show. So I reached out to Robert and said, hey, loved what you were talking about today. I'd love to have you a guest on the show. And he said, absolutely, I would love to. He accepted the offer. So let me tell you why. So I told you, I've heard him, I've heard what he's got to talk about. So that was first big fat tip for me was I need to get him on the show. The second is his bio is impressive. So he's an award-winning web designer, a developer, a digital strategy expert, and he helps dozens and dozens of 7- and 8-figure businesses break through the roadblocks that have actually been holding them back from online success. Now, as you know, the Unlock Show is all about helping people live their life unlocked. A big part of that is about finding your voice and being able to share what it is that you know with the rest of the world. And the show, Unlocked, is about business, family, and life with a very heavy dose of business. So you'll see that the Unlock Show is going to talk a lot more about this business side of things, how to find your voice over this 2021. I wanted Robert on here for the very first show because a lot of what we're going to talk about starts with building an online presence. And given he is an expert in that field, I wanted him to be first in the lineup for the guests on the Unlock Show. So welcome to the show, Robert.
Tracy, that was awesome. Thank you so much. I am very grateful to be here.
I'm super pleased that you are actually here. So I want to talk about, there's so many things because I get quite excited when it comes to kind of the online space. And I know that you do too, because we're kind of, you get a bit geeky, right? You get a bit of you geek out on this sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
And I know that given that you and I have been in similar circles, and we'll talk about, the circles we've been kind of hanging out in over the last few years, there was this I suppose, saying or belief that a very big guru was wanting everybody to believe, which was that the fact that websites are dead. And this was a concept of actually a really clever
Yeah,
marketing concept that came
very.
about, right? To
Yeah.
get people to think and believe that websites were dead. But let's talk about that. Are they really? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, is
Well,
that the case?
so I remember when I saw that, and the first time I ever saw that, I had a chip on my shoulder. I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about?
Mhm.
This is insane, because that's what I do all day, every day. I'm a web designer, developer. I spend my time daily working on this stuff. And I was just, and it got the reaction out of me that it was supposed to get, which was, it certainly got my attention. And, and so immediately I was intrigued by that statement. But yeah, no, I mean, and I even think that he would probably tell you, because of what he wrote about in Traffic Seekers. But that nothing could be further from the truth. Websites are not dead by any stretch of the imagination.
No. Well, it's interesting because I mean, I bet you that did get a rise out of you when, a hardworking web developer, seen the real benefits of people having a website, and then somebody comes out and says,
Yeah,
well, you don't need one of them anymore. You need to get rid of your website and you need to do
yeah,
this thing. So let's talk firstly about, I want to talk about how clever that concept was, and why, like, from a marketing point of view, because I know you and I can both talk about marketing as well as kind of the
sure.
technical sides of building stuff. So let's have a chat about firstly the marketing piece of that, because that was super freaking clever.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, it was absolutely brilliant, and he does that, all of the time. It's certainly no
Yeah.
surprise. Having followed him now for the last couple of years, it's no surprise to me that that's the kind of thing that he's coming up with. But the whole point of it was really to be that attention grabbing hook to grab your attention, because in the space that I come from, I work on corporate websites. I work on big websites. We do 7 and 8 figure projects. We work on really big things. So coming from my world, and hearing that kind of thing, it was astonishing. So I had to figure out what it was all about and where he was going with that. I actually had a client around that same time who was just getting started using ClickFunnels. So we built a bunch of custom stuff for him in the ClickFunnels, in his ClickFunnels account. But yeah, I mean, it was, it did exactly what it was intended to do, which was to grab attention. Because that's the thing, is people struggle with getting the results out of a traditional website that, that it's really done a lot better, for, just looking at the numbers when you're using funnels. And so, for people that, like coming out of the blogging world, or the content creation world, the podcasters and stuff like that, there are people that have been really, struggling for the longest time to figure out how they can make headway in this space. And I know, because one of my first exposures, going back like 10 or 12 years now, or one of my early exposures, I should say, was to Pat Flynn and Smart Passive Income. And, at the time he was talking about blogging and talking about content creation. And he was even working on his niche site Duel at the time, I think, when I first started coming into his world. And, everything was about content creation. It wasn't about the marketing side of things. So I know so many people in that space, and have so many clients and customers in that space that have struggled trying to make the kind of headway. So it was a brilliant hook that was put out there for all those people that are struggling with the things that they're trying to do online.
Yeah. So I'm going to give everybody a little bit of a tip here, I suppose, from a marketing perspective. And I think you guys now know we're talking about the amazing Russell Brunson, who I love dearly and certainly wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today. But he was super clever in working out what is the hook that I need to use to just kind of grab people's attention. It's like, what is that scroll stopping thing that I can say to get people to go, hang on a minute, wait, what? What do you mean websites are dead? And like Rob's saying, that grabbed his attention, which meant that he then went looking a little bit, delving a little bit deeper to find out, what is this guy actually talking about? So step one, when you like, as far as even having your online presence, from a website point of view, often what people do, particularly in the old days, was we would create our or treat our website like an online brochure.
Yes.
And that's kind of one of the fundamental mistakes that I think a lot of people make, right? Is just put all of as much information as I can on there in the sense of creating a brochure. But one of the great things that Russell Brunson did was he highlighted the fact that you need attention grabbing hooks. And now let's talk about how they relate to like websites. How do we turn our brochure style website into like this hub or this hive of a machine that is able to draw people in and then enable them to kind of continue a customer journey with you?
Yeah, no, and that's a really good question. And I actually, this is a conversation that I have with my clients all the time. And one of the first questions that I ask them, because when they come to me, a lot of times they're completely ignorant when it comes to any kind of online marketing or anything like that. So when we start talking about that, their eyes glaze over. We're talking about stuff that they've never talked about before, and so it ends up being really good. But it's stuff that they haven't even thought about. And the first question I ask them is, what do you want somebody to do when they get to your website? You've done all this work. You want to tell all these people about all these different things, about how great your company is and what your products and services are and when you were established and what your summer retreat with your staff looked like and all that sort of stuff. And that's all really good in terms of what you want to do, but what are your customers looking for? What questions do they have? What pain points do they have? And how can you present yourself to them in such a way that you provide solutions to them that answer their questions really quickly? So we talk about, what is success? What does success look like for your website? And a lot of times, unfortunately, I don't have a good answer, but by the time we get done with our conversation, we've got a game plan for what we want to do. But yeah, it's a big deal. People just want to put information out there, and that's not going to be the thing that's ultimately going to get you where you want to go.
Yeah. And I think the point that you've made there, or the fundamental change, is rather than coming at it from the angle of, I want people to know about everything that I've got. It's like, what's in it for them? Mm-hmm. Why would they want to continue to stay on your website? And I think I read, and these statistics might even be a little bit off now, but last year when I was looking at this, did you know that a goldfish has the attention span of about 8 seconds? Whereas humans have less than that. Yeah. So you've got very little time, just a few seconds to grab somebody's attention online when they get to your site. So what are some of the fundamental things? Like if we were looking at you're building your own website, why would you want to do that? And what is the purpose of having that? And then let's talk about some of the things that you should really think about having. We'll talk about it in thirds. We'll get to all of this, guys. We'll talk a little bit technical in thirds and what we should have on various sections of the page.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, so this is something that I've been up on my soapbox about for forever, is you have to have a place online that you control, where you control the messaging, you control everything that's going on, right? There's so many people that are spending all of their time on Facebook, or they're spending all of their time on LinkedIn or Instagram, or even YouTube, right? They're spending all of this time creating content and pushing content to all these various different places. But there's not a central place that they can control. And I use this example often, and it's not a perfect example, but in the personal finance space, there's a guy named Dave Ramsey. And a couple of years ago, this is probably several years ago now, he hired a guy named John Acuff to be part of his team. Well, John had built his platform, and he had written books, and he had done really well for himself. That's how he got on Dave Ramsey's radar. So he goes to work for Dave Ramsey, and whatever happens, that's between them. But there was a pretty quick split between the two of them. But when John Acuff left Dave Ramsey's organization, he didn't take his domain name with him. So his online presence that he had spent all that time building was just completely gone, and he had to start from scratch. And the same kind of principle applies if you're spending a lot of time and effort pushing content to all these other places, but you don't have one central place that you control where you can tell your story and get your message out. And that's a really big deal.
Absolutely. I mean, you've created a really good point here, which is we spend a lot of time on these social media platforms. I mean, even now, we are streaming right now to multiple different social media platforms. However, one of the things that Rob has just said, you need to create that, we call it the hive, he calls it the hub, but the concept is the same. The concept is that you create somewhere that you can bring a base where you can bring people back to, that you actually control the messaging and you can control the traffic on. Whereas if you think about your ability to be able to control the traffic on social media sites, it's very, very limited. You have a very limited amount of time to grab somebody's attention, and then they might be there and then they're gone. Whereas if you can get them on your website, what's the next step? So they've got to our website, now what?
Right. So we want to convert them into traffic that we own from traffic that we earn, right? To use the Russell Brunson phrase, and that's where all the magic happens. And it's such a huge, important thing, because here's what happens. You go and you make some great content on Facebook, right? You spend a lot of time doing the Facebook Live, or you create this awesome post and you get tons of engagement, right? At the end of a couple of days, when your content is completely gone, right? But the person that saw your content is going to go and Google your name. They're going to go put your name in the search engine, and they're going to try to find out more about you because you did this really great thing. And if your name doesn't come up, then what are you doing? I mean, it's a complete disaster from a marketing and sales and branding perspective that they can't find you. So it drives me absolutely insane when I see people talking about how you don't need a website. You can be successful just by selling through Facebook Messenger or selling through, Facebook and doing organic marketing. And those things are true, but it's a segment of the truth, right? If you're looking to build a business that's not only going to be successful for you in the short term, but also in the long term, you have to build a brand. And when you build that brand, you've got to have that in a place that you control. So if Facebook changes their algorithm, which they do all the freaking time, if they change something, that your stuff is not going to get wiped out. You're not in trouble of being banned because you've brought that traffic back to your hub where you control it. Right now, they're on your list. I actually had a guy on a Facebook Live that I did a few weeks ago. I was talking about this same thing, where he had been relying solely on Facebook for his marketing, and he pushed the envelope and he got banned. And he had spent like the last 6 months banned. His entire business dissolved. I'm like, that's insane, and there are solutions for that. So anyway, but yeah, it's so crucial to have a central online place where you control everything.
You preach, because I'm totally on board with that, and I totally agree with that, because I've seen it time and time and time again where people are, oh my God, Facebook have shut me down because I've tried to push that envelope, and now I'm in a bit of strife, and their entire business or their legs get cut out from under them. So having your own website. Now, one of the things also that people get stuck on is, should they have a personal website? And I've got a view on this, of course, personal website, or should we have a business website, or both? Right.
Well, so in my mind, the way that I think of it, I call it a platform funnel, right? Or a funnel hub is the way that Russell refers to it in Traffic Secrets. But it's that one place that you control that is branded with your messaging, where you control all these things. And on that central place, you have your content, right? That great piece of content you created, that Facebook Live, or that long form text post you had that did so well, you take that and you go put that on your platform funnel, right? And and that way it continues to live, because what happens is people will drop out of your funnels, right? They talked about this at Funnel Hacking Live, and it was like, oh my God, these guys are on the same page. I totally understand what they're talking about, because I've been thinking the same things. And they said that, if you're lucky, you get 5% conversion from the traffic that you get into your funnels. 5%. If you're lucky, what happens to the other 95%? They bounce, right? So where do they go? Some people just bounce, and that's just the nature of the internet. But some people are interested enough, but they go to Google to figure out, and they're like, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but I'm not quite sure that I'm ready to pull this trigger yet. So let me go find out about this Rob Orr guy, So they go and they put your name in Google, and start looking. And if you don't come up, then you're in a real world of hurt. So it's so essential to have that piece in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And you did right. That is, the fallout rate, you want to make sure that you've got some way of being able to capture those people and continue to build the connection and the engagement with them over a long period of time. Because the reality is too that most people, if you're doing this correctly, you'll have your messaging aligned with your offer, and in that part of the ecosystem and the architecture of building that ecosystem becomes your website, your funnels, all of your online presence, your branding overarches all of that, et cetera, et cetera. So you actually start to build a really solid foundation for your continued success in your business to be built upon. Without those things, you're playing with a bit of fire, really, aren't you? Because you're allowing another force to control everything for you.
Absolutely.
Decide, boom, I'm not having that anymore. What do they call it? Thanos hits, and boom, it doesn't exist anymore. And we've actually seen that recently, not with Facebook, but with some other social media platforms that have been, coming out. I mean, you need only look at something like Parler, which is a new social platform that's come out, and boom, they're not their legs have been cut out from under them. You can't get on Parler anymore because they decided that it was too, not in alignment with what the big wig said. So sorry, you're out of here.
Yeah. It's really a challenge, So when you think about what kind of thing that you need to create, it really has to be something that covers all of the various different aspects of a personal brand, right? So Russell Brunson talks a lot about building the attractive character, right? For years, I've called it being a known entity. And it's a terrible term. I mean, there's nothing catchy about that. Not like the attractive character is any better, but, for the longest time, I'm like, the difference between, people that are successful online and the people that are not successful is the level of their visibility online. So people like Michael Hyatt rise to the top of the crowd because they have great content and they're doing really great things online. So they rise to the top. They become that attractive character, right? Same thing for Pat Flynn and Amy Porterfield and Rick Mulready and all of these different people that are doing really, really well in their business. But they all started somewhere. And if you trace it back to where they began, it all starts with this one place that they control, and then they send out traffic and they go out to these outposts to make their presence be known. But they come back. So it's a blog, but it's more than a blog. It's a podcast, but it's more than a podcast. It's a YouTube channel, but it's a lot more than a YouTube channel. It's a collection of all of those things in one place where you put yourself on display on the platform on a pedestal and say, hey, look, this is who I am. This is what I'm all about. These are the problems I solve. This is how I can help you. So it's really a lot different in terms of what you're building, just like a funnel is, right? Going back to the websites are dead thing, the ClickFunnels is a page builder, at the end of the day, it's the framework that it lives in that makes it so valuable. The same thing goes for this central hub, the hive that you call it. It's, when you have all these things and people can find you and get to know you and like you and the trust gets built, that's what makes all of the different pieces of the puzzle come together and make your business grow.
Absolutely. And I liken this to, like, if you were somebody who was wanting to build an asset portfolio, in the financial space, I mean, you would do it in multiple places. You would
Yeah,
diversify. And that's exactly what this is all about. So you have one central point and then you diversify by putting your information or your assets and your IP in all of these different places. But ultimately it is to draw your audience back
absolutely.
to one central point. I mean, I'm a big fan of having your own personal brand.
Yes.
And the reason that I think this is so important, and it actually leads back to the story that you told at the beginning about the guy who was working for somebody else, built everything up, and then he left that company, and then, everything's gone.
Right.
And Russell talks a lot about this too. So it lends itself really well to the attractive character. So building out like who you are, who you're about, allowing people to see you, hear you, follow you, know, like, and trust you. But having that personal brand means that no matter what business you are in, that personal brand is your personal brand.
Yes.
People are going to be looking for Tracy Wilson, and they will
Right.
go to the Tracy M. Wilson site. When you get there, there are multiple, there are different places that you can go. So we'll talk a little bit about this in a second. So that's kind of like the central hive. You position yourself as the queen bee. Your people come back there. That's the hive that they come to. And then you can start building funnels off of that to channel people, because you control that traffic now. You can channel people to where you want them to go, which leads itself to the funnel. And I think where I've seen a bit of a confusion come in is where people have thought, oh, the funnel, I can get rid of my website and all I need is a funnel. But they're actually missing a fundamental piece, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think Steve Larson is probably the greatest example of this. Because, I'm a web designer and I'm a developer, so I'm always stalking people online. Like if I find something that I like or somebody that is doing something that I find interesting, I'm looking at your stuff. And for the longest time, Steve's site was kind of, just kind of a run of the mill kind of thing. But I want to say 6 months or so before, and my timing could be off, but a few months before Funnel Hacking Live last year, his site got updated. And I'm like, yes, this is exactly what I've been thinking about, and you look at it and you go to Steve's site and you see, because he's one of the guys that's behind this concept of the Funnel Hub too. And, and when you land on a site, you're immediately confronted with his entire brand, right? He immediately is bringing you into his first priority for you, which, is like the main call to action in the main hero section there on the webpage. And then he tells you a little bit about who he is, how he can help you, the things that he can help you to do, the ways that you can connect with him. And it's all right there on the front page, along with his podcasts and his YouTube and all of these different things that he's doing. It's all right there. And I'm like, this is freaking brilliant. This is exactly what I've been talking about forever. So I was really excited when I saw that somebody like that was doing it, because it makes all the difference in the world when you build yourself up as that brand.
Absolutely. So what you want to think about when you're building out, you're kind of using both funnels and website in conjunction with one another. Like you're using them to work as a nice machine, right? The fabric all kind of joins together. So you're bringing somebody in to that hub or that hive of a website, and then sitting in behind that, you've got all of the funnels that sit in there based on what you were just talking about with Steve, where he says, well, boom, here's what I can offer, here's how I can help you in the first instance.
Right.
Now, if you want this, you go here, you click this button, and that's going to take you down, let's call it, a funnel or a chute. And then the next one you click on will take you somewhere else, and so on and so forth. So if you can imagine, if you had those funnels separately, how much traffic you'd have to try and drive one customer. If you had 5 things, you'd have to try and drive one customer to 5 different places.
Right.
But what you're doing with this concept is you're bringing them to one place, and then they have a choice of where they go, and they can always come back to the hive and go down the next chute, come back to the hive, go down the next chute, so on and so forth.
Yeah, so absolutely. Yeah, and that's one of my favorite things about this concept is that that's where your point of entry for your funnels is, right? That's where your lead magnets are, right? So somebody could come in and opt in and and immediately get involved in one of your funnels. Or think about it from a Facebook ads perspective. That person that saw your ad, clicked on your funnel, didn't buy, but then turned around and went to Google and searched your name, found your platform, and then saw all the other stuff that you had to offer. So not only do they now know that, hey, this person is an expert in this one area, but look at all of these different things that this person can help me with here. Let me download this guide. And it accelerates the way people get immersed into your world, right? So, because know, like, and trust is everything when it comes to this stuff online. And, whether you are a huge business or you're just getting started, people need to know you. They need to like you. They need to trust you. They're not going to buy from you if those things aren't there, and on this, this platform concept that I'm talking about, you have the ability to bring those people in, get them into a place where they can learn to trust you, because they have to learn to trust you. And that's where you're talking about with the funnel entrances, right? They see this great guide that you created that, is doing, that ends up doing great stuff for them. I actually had a message that I got from somebody yesterday about a WordPress guide that I created a couple of years back and hadn't even really thought about recently. But she messaged me and she said, I just want to let you know how much the ebook and checklist that you created is helping me. And I'm like, that's freaking awesome. Because that's what I want. I want to help people, but it helps them when they come back and tell me that helps me to know that, that I'm doing something right. And, that lead magnet that I created was on my hub. That's where it started and that's where it was found.
I know, that's super cool, and it's great having stories like that. Hey, look, the Unlock Show is often sponsored. So today we actually do have a sponsor for our show. So it'd be a great opportunity for me or great timing for me to kind of introduce who our sponsor is. And I'm going to give you guys a discount code. So given that we've been talking about website building, we've been talking about building a hive and a hub site, we've been talking about sales funnels. Our sponsor for today is called Usability, and I'm going to put it up on the screen in a moment, and you'll be able to go there. And if you want to check it out, you can get a 14-day free trial. You don't even need to enter your credit card details to just check it out and play with it. It is an amazing platform that will allow you to build your website and all your funnels, create your booking systems. There's a whole bunch of things that you can do inside of Usability. I'm going to put it up on the site, and I've actually created a Hive template. There is a template based on what Robert and I have just been talking about today, already set up in there. So there is no need for you to try and go and recreate it yourself. There's a template set up there with all the right things on it, with all the right pages, as well as that template also has the ability for you to be able to set up a show like this, and also have, what do we call it? It was like filter in your guests through your website. So if you want to go and check it out, I'm going to pop it up on the screen right now. Let me attempt to do this. So it's Usability. It's a very simple website and funnel builder. It is made for the busy business owner. So if you are somebody that is not technically savvy, then you can go there. It's a simple, really fast drag and drop system. www.usability, spelled YOUZABILITY.com. And for today, up until the 12th of February, there is a 10% discount code on some of the plans. All you need to do is enter unlocked at the checkout, and you'll get a 10% discount on your product purchase. So go check it out and have a bit of a play and see I'm sure you're going to like it. I absolutely love it. If you go and check out the Tracy M. Wilson site, you'll also see that site has actually been built using Usability, and everything else that we do for Tracy M. Wilson brand, the Vicky Helm brand, and also our Metadime Digital brand is all built on the Usability platform. So head on over, and thanks to the guys at Usability, who I just so happen to be the CEO of that particular, for full disclosure, happen to be the CEO of that particular company. So go and check it out and pick yourself up a 10% discount and try it out. Build yourself a Hive website and create some funnels for yourself. So, Robert, now that we've done that, let's talk about what makes a successful website.
What does make a successful website? Well, that's a really great question, and it has like numerous different answers. But really, the best answer is when it's achieving what your goals are for your online presence, then it's successful. You know, and here's an example. Seth Godin has a blog on Typepad, has millions of readers, right? He's been wildly successful with that, and it's done all kinds of things for him. There's nothing about that that looks good, that has any kind of deep features or functionality. It is the simplest kind of thing that you've ever seen, right? So that is very successful because his goal is to use that as his platform to get his message out. Then you have other sites like ClickFunnels, right? At clickfunnels.com. Because that site is built to meet their specific goals, then it's very successful. So the thing that I talk with my clients about is figuring out what those things are that you want to achieve so we can build something for you that's going to make you successful, at the end of the day. Because, when people come to spend money with us to do web development, I don't want them to, have all the buyer's remorse that comes after the fact that we built them this gorgeous website that's not doing anything for their business. So you have to have goals that you want to achieve. Maybe it's to open a new sales channel, or maybe it's to expand your audience, or maybe it's to, expand what you're doing with your business. Maybe you're a traditional business that's never been online before. Maybe you're going online for the first time. So when you figure out what success looks like, what you want for your website to accomplish, then you can figure out the steps that you need to put in place to do that. And that's what we do too, right? So we help people through, like one of the clients we were working with recently, is a big agricultural company. And so they had a very their last version of their website looked like it had been built in like 1980. It was really rough, and they came to us and just kind of laid themselves before us and said, "Please help us." So we went to work for them, and we ended up winning awards for that website, from the design and the functionality and stuff like that. But even more important than that is what ended up happening for them for their business. They've opened up new sales channels. They're marketing online in ways that they never even dreamed of before, and they're being successful in new ways that are brand new to their very old style traditional company. And so it's been really encouraging to see those things happen for them. So we coach them through the process and just have a conversation, say like, have you ever thought about doing this with trying to reach out to your customers? And especially for those guys, it's like, I've never even considered what that was. But when you get with somebody who has spent some time doing this as a web designer, developer, or digital strategist, they are able to help you through those steps and ask you the questions you're not even thinking about. So that's the big benefit of what we do. And ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether we win anything for it in terms of awards. It's ultimately helping them to be successful and earn the money online that they want to earn.
Yep, absolutely. And that is, first and foremost, often people don't think about that. They just think, oh, well, I've got to get a website done. I need to have some sort of online presence, without necessarily thinking through why do you want to have that, and what is the ultimate goal for right now. And those goals might change. Like you might start off with one thing in mind. Okay, now we've got that under our belt. We're achieving that. Now let's take it to the next level and the next level. So they'll continually, you'll continually add and mold your website and your online presence based on where you are at whatever stage you are at in your business.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned something there. To kind of go back to the brochure site thing we were talking about before, is so many times we get people coming in and that's all they want, right? And what ends up happening is, even if you do end up building that for them, at the end of the day, they think it was a waste of money and time because it's not doing anything for their business. And it really is something that you've got to, especially if you're on the other side of this, you're not the web developer, you're the one who needs the help. That's why it's so important to listen to the people that you're hiring to do this and let them lead you down the right path, because you don't want to spend 10, 15, 25, $55,000 building a website. And ultimately at the end of the day, you go, okay, well, I'm not getting any sales from it. Because you wanted to create a brochure site where you've got basically your business plan on as your website. Nobody cares about that kind of stuff. People always care about what problems you can solve for them when they land on your website. That's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And then just, ease of use, just making sure that it's really easy to use.
Of course,
those are all like super important points. And I think the other point that I want to make about this is, when we're setting our goals, so we have this, what do I want to achieve out of my website? But then the second part to that, which again is a part that most people don't even think about, but is how will you know that it's successful? What are the measurements that you are going to put in place? So if it is like, how many people have actually seen my site? How many people am I getting into my funnel? Is my list actually growing? It's those sorts of things that can be the determining factors on whether or not your website is successful.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's so huge. You don't know how many times I talk to people that are coming in to talk with us about websites, and I ask them, so what can you add us to your Google Analytics so we can see? And they don't have it. We're actually getting ready to start a project for somebody here over the next week or two, where they've had a website up for years. They don't even have Google Analytics, so we have no idea what's been working for them online, and it's insane. It's the concept of what gets measured gets improved. And it's like I'm weird about this stuff. It's like the first thing that I check in the morning. I look at YouTube video plays, I look at website traffic, and I look at email subscribers. I look at all of those things. That's like my first thing. I obsess over those things.
Well, they're like the big needle movers, like top of funnel, top of your business kind of lifeline is people actually seeing my message? Are people actually coming here? I mean, when I'm doing shows like this, I know that a small portion of people watch them live, but then I'm watching the statistics on what's actually happening after we've actually posted it and watching, in the replay, in YouTube, in other places. Because I know when they're watching the show, what then is happening is they then go into my website, they're checking that out. I can actually see the pathway and the footsteps that people are taking because I'm seeing the statistics there. And when you can measure those stats, like it will allow you to, a lot of people get quite anxious about all of this, particularly if they're spending decent dollars on getting their website done, but you have no way of measuring and no idea of what is it that I'm actually going to use as my measurements. You're going to be all ticked off and annoyed because you're not hitting, the numbers that you think they should hit, when in fact that was never the goal in the first place.
Right.
So super important goal, and then attaching a measurement or some form of tracking to that. And then you can start to build everything else upon that. I just wanted to make that point because I know that that's a sticking point for a lot of people, and and we don't often delve that deep. So we've already sort of talked about, the death of the website. Well, we know that's totally not true. You must have a website if they are alive and well and thriving, and you want to use that in conjunction with funnels, like make them work together. When you do that, you're going to have a really cohesive, nice, solid foundation to continue to build your site on. Like Robert was saying, I'm just going to do a bit of a recap because he's covered so many awesome things, but moving that traffic, the importance of having that website so that it is a hub and a hive that you can start to control the traffic. So you're going to take that traffic that you've earned or that you've paid for because you've done some sort of Facebook ads, get it onto your website, get them on your database so you can continue to have the conversation. And then also just making sure that you're building out your own personal brand. That hub is going to allow you to do that so that you've then created yourself some flexibility to do whatever you want in the future. You can start putting in all of your other brands right underneath that one personal brand, which is all about you. So we've got, if you guys have got any questions, so in the show, because we are live, you can type your questions in the comment section below, and I'll actually put them up on the screen and we'll answer them for you. So we'll take about the next 5 minutes or so just to answer any questions. So if you've got any, post them into the comment section and we'll make sure that we answer them. What have we got here? Help people with what we do. Okay, so I've just got a message here from Dallas. She's saying, how can we help people with what we do? Awesome questions. Thank you. So she's just making a comment there. That is exactly how you would do it, Dallas. So first and foremost, I'm a big believer of making sure you get your message out there. So finding a platform and a way of being able to do that, whether it's Facebook Live or creating a show. And of course, we help people create their own shows to be able to connect their message with their product and their service. And then the other piece of it is to have your online presence set up with great solid foundations. So you've created a hype for people to come back to.
Absolutely.
All right, what have I got here? Here we go. Dallas is also asking, how important is email responses? So we're probably talking more about the email nurture side of things now.
So yes. So this is a challenge that a lot of people face, and I've had a lot of different conversations with people about this particular thing over time. You can have the biggest list, but if your open rates and your click rates are low, then it doesn't matter. But you can have a small list that has a high open rate and has a high click-through rate. And that makes all the difference in the world. You don't need 1,000 or 5,000 or 100,000 people on your list if you've got the right people on your list. And this is where I think a lot of people really miss this, is when they create lead magnets and they start driving traffic into their funnel, into their opt-ins, they're not driving the right kinds of people. I've made this mistake myself. And it can be really frustrating because you end up with a lot of very inactive people on your list. But what I talk with my clients about is we go through a 12-step process of walking through and talking about what your dream customer is, who that person is, what makes them tick, where the problems are, what results you want to help them with. And we go through, and people sometimes get frustrated with this, but that's really because they've never spent enough time thinking about it. So if you want to get more activity through your email list and get responses and get click-throughs, then you got to start by getting the right people on your list. So there's not really much you can do with it after the fact, other than do some re-warm up sequences and those kinds of things. But yeah, you got to get the right people on the list to begin with.
Absolutely. I mean, we'll do another show, Dallas. I'll actually, now that we've sort of started this process of talking about, being unlocked, finding your voice, speaking about things throughout the Unlocked show over 2021, we're going to delve deep into all of these different aspects, because it's not like and this also is a bit of a misconception. I'll just get a website up and that's all I need.
Yeah.
There's all these other components, and if you get them working, it's like you're creating an orchestra, a symphony of all these different components that come together, and you add them over time. So you start out, you're a one-man band, then you get a buddy who's going to play the banjo with you, and then you add the drums and so on and so forth. It's kind of like that. It's you're building out your band by adding all these different things over time. So just hang about, because over the next few weeks and months, we will talk a lot more about that, because it all lends itself into building yourself into an authority and an influence. Because as Robert said, he said right at the beginning, if I remember rightly, we were talking about what's the difference between the Amy Porterfields, the Pat Flynn's, the Russell Brunsons, all of these big gurus. There's only one major difference, and the major difference is they are visible. They are out there. They are being seen. They are being heard. Which then gives them the opportunity to be known, liked, trusted.
Yeah.
That is the way in which you become an authority in your business.
Absolutely. Yeah. And if I want to just say one thing too, real quick, that just came to mind, and it's this. So, Russell teaches the concept of dig your well before you're thirsty. And this very much applies here with this hub or hive concept that we're talking about. So, one of the best things you can do if you are just getting started with your online business is to start to build this now, because you're going to do a couple things. You're going to establish your presence online. You're going to start building your authority. You're going to start building the depth of your content. You're going to get better at creating content, and you're going to continue to iterate and grow and practice and to use the, again, go back to Steve Larson. He talked about the first time I went through the One Funnel Away challenge, is to publish something every single day, right? And the point of that isn't for everything that you publish every day to be awesome. The point of that is to get the practice in, so you eventually get to the point where you're awesome. And you do that, and then again, like I said, you collect all this stuff at your funnel hub. And you start doing it, especially if you're just getting started, or your name is not as visible as you want it to be right now. There's no time better than the present to get started with that.
You betcha. And I think that now we're actually this is like the perfect storm. It is the perfect opportunity. And I've talked about this on previous shows about how the playing field's actually being leveled. So a lot of these big gurus, a lot of the way in which they got people into their world was to be doing live events. You can't do them anymore.
Right.
So what is available? It's this. It's doing shows. It's doing podcasts. It's getting out there and actually speaking and being visible. Very easy for you to do this. Don't need a lot of technology. You need, some pipes to be able to speak, and off you go. Some content and some ideas to share. And you're away laughing. So I'm a big advocate for people just getting out there and just starting, and you all need to start somewhere. I've got a great question here from another question from Dallas. So she's saying that she's rebuilding her website and relaunching at the end of February, and she's got a business partner who's not comfortable being out online yet. How can I achieve visibility if he's not ready? Ooh, I like that question, because I want to go.
Yeah, no. So here's my take. I mean, there's obviously a lot more to it than what's there, but I'm a big advocate of building your own personal brand, right? So if you're in a business and a partnership with somebody else, then obviously there's going to be some challenges and some dynamics there that you're just going to have to work through. But that doesn't mean that, unless, again, you have some kind of, I'm not a attorney, I don't have any idea about how that sort of stuff works, but there would seem to be that there's nothing stopping you from working on building your own personal brand while that other person is not on board with that. And it's not uncommon. I actually, there's a couple good friends of mine that are in a very similar kind of situation where she is all about being out there and he does not want anything to do with it. So maybe it's a situation where you become the face of your brand. That's what Russell Brunson did. Todd Dickerson and Dylan Jones, who knew who Todd Dickerson was until Russell brought him up? Nobody. And who knew Dylan Jones was? Nobody. And it's not that those guys didn't make substantial contributions. It was that Russell became the attractive character. Sorry, word thing there. But that's what it is. I mean, you associate ClickFunnels with Russell Brunson, so that could be a potential solution for you in your situation.
Yeah. And I would echo that. I would say that in this hub concept, it's like, Dallas, you would have your own personal branded site. Your business partner potentially down the track would have their own branded site. And in the middle, you're going to have, the business or the brand that you've created. Yeah. And over time, you might actually end up with multiple brands. So particularly if you're a coach or consultant, you are most likely going to end up with multiple products and or services. So you would start with your own personal brand, and then you would have, the various different products and businesses that you have created. For example, I have multiple brands, so it makes sense for me to have a Tracy M. Wilson site that then has the thing that I do, that I'm focused on right now. But then I also have usability that is linked in there. I have the Waffle Box. I have Business Beyond 5. I have my She-Myth book. I have the different programs that I run. So all of those then sit under that one umbrella of Tracy M. Wilson. And you might create something exactly the same as that, which makes absolute sense to do. And it's probably more important to do it when you're in a partnership. Because if you're in a partnership, like Robert was talking about with that example he used earlier, if you're in a partnership with somebody else And we never foresee this now, but it does happen. Partnership separates down the track, and you've created your brand under one business, which both of you own. That brand and that business goes away, your entire structure of who you are is also gone. So
Right.
this is why we're stressing the importance of, or the major benefits of actually creating your own personal brand, because then it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what happens to the building, the blocks that sit underneath that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened in the Dave Ramsey, John Acuff situation that we were talking about earlier. You know, there was a partnership there that dissolved. Dave Ramsey won, John Acuff lost in a huge way. So, you know, I think that there are some good solutions there for you. It's just figuring out which one's going to be the best solution for you.
Yeah. So look, we're here. We can take some more questions if you've got them. But if you don't have any more questions, we're going to wrap this up. I wanted to ask Rob, is there anything else that you think, you want to make sure that we get across today? Any other like amazing insider secrets that you want to share with the audience? Because I think they are lapping this up.
Yeah, no, I think we've covered it. I mean, there's so much good stuff that we've talked about. One of the things that like I mentioned, I've been doing web design and development for a long time now, and I put together some stuff that if you're interested in that, I can tell you more about that. But it's really important just to figure out what's going to be the right thing for you. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Go ahead and start building your platform now. Start getting your voice out there and broadcast your message. Be obnoxious about it. And by be obnoxious, I mean be omnipresent and be in everybody's face all the time with all of the stuff that you're doing. And yeah, it's a lot of work, and yeah, it takes time, and yeah, it's exhausting, and yeah, there's going to be a lot of times when you don't want to do it. But the people that are successful that we've been talking about throughout this whole show are people that have been doing that for years. We just now are seeing the results of what they spent so many years in anonymity doing. It just takes time to build that stuff up and make your own make your own mark, really, more than anything else.
Absolutely. So, hey, look, I am going to pop Rob's website up on the screen right now. So if you want to go and check and you want to, spend some more time with Rob, then this is where you would, sorry, not that one. Wait a minute. Let's just go here. This one. Sorry. Websites are notdead.com is where you need to go to hang out more with Rob. And I'm sure you can check out his website. If you want somebody to build your website, then of course you can go and engage with Rob and his team.
Yep.
And the last thing I wanted to say is that what's really interesting, and I've alluded to this, about the fact that there is a huge opportunity, and that opportunity is now because the playing field has been leveled, right? And because more people are at home, we are more likely to be online rather than going to, we're trying to get our information fix and our entertainment fix, or edutainment as they now call it, through this online type presence rather than going to live events. So if you are somebody who wants to build your presence and your influence and your authority in 2021, and you want to do it in a simple way, then I'm going to encourage you to go to this website. This is a program that Vicky Helm and I run. It's called Influence and Authority. And what we teach you how to do is to create your own online presence with all the things that we've actually spoken about today. But instead of it being difficult and taking a lot of time, we've got it down to a 2-hour process. So if you want to do this in about 2 hours a week and have what Rob calls omnipresence, being present on multiple different platforms, and creating a machine that's going to work for you, then go and check out the Influence and Authority, influenceandauthority.com. We have spaces open now. We are taking enrollments. So if you want to join the program, we'll certainly hold your hand and walk you through the process of how you do that, so that you can become an influence and authority and a sought after expert in your industry in 2021. So I'm going to pop Rob's website back on, and this is where you go. Just a little reminder, websites are not dead. Go check Robert Orr out on that website. And I want to say thank you so much for your generous thoughts, your inspiring information, and your wisdom today, Rob, because I know that what you've shared today was awesome. We could talk for hours, I know, but I'm going to let you get out of here. And I know that our audience has really enjoyed it. So Thank you so much for your time and for being here.
Tracy, thank you so much for having me. It was an honor. I really enjoyed our conversation. Thank you for having me on.
You're very welcome. All right, guys. Well, I'm Tracy Wilson. As you know, you've been watching The Unlocked Show. And as I always say, you must go out and live your life unlocked, because honestly, one day I'm going to share with you guys kind of some stuff that's happened over the last couple of weeks, but you must live your life unlocked. Don't hold anything back. If you have a message inside of you that you want to share, make sure you get that message out, because you do not know what the future is going to hold. And there may come a time where you're not able to do it. So go out there and get it done, as fast as you can now. Like I said, the way that you can do that is by joining the Influence and Authority Method program. And right now, I'm going to say also thank you very much to our sponsors, Usability, for being here and offering a discount to all of our members. Here's where you go: Usability, YOUZABILITY.com. Use the discount code UNLOCKED, and that will give you a 10% discount code on some of the plans. And that way you can start building your own Hive and Hub website and any other funnel that you want. There's a bunch of templates in there. So thank you so much for joining us. I'll be back again real soon. Actually, this Friday, you'll see me again on The Unlocked Show. And keep your eyes peeled, because next week I'm also launching another brand new show called Take a Stand. And I will tell you a little bit more about that and why I've decided to do 2 different shows. Thank you for joining me today. It's always my pleasure. See you guys again next week. Let's pull up this and we will say, see ya later. Bye, guys.